Oh, no.
Yeah. Police say, you're welcome on Black Fire Network, African Maria from Kampala, Uganda, with my colleague, INNOSSETU. Oh, you're welcome on our live here on, of course, YouTube, Black Fire Network, um, and on Facebook, Black Fire Network Radio, on Twitter, and other platforms. Thank you so much for coming. Of course, today is Thursday. Yeah. People warming up for Friday. Yep, it's of course 25 minutes past 5 p.m. Here, and the weather is cool, kind of cool, kind of cool. Today we are going to talk about Niger. Apparently, a lot of people have been hearing about Niger, but we want to give you a brief history of Niger as we, of course, will ride you through these hours. We shall start from the history of Niger, why Niger is called Niger, what happens in Niger. You want to know more about Niger? This is the topic, and this is the show to stick on right about now. We are going to take you through, by the way. Of course, Niger is a country located in the Western Africa. Niger is landlocked, and it takes its name from the Niger River, which flows through the southwestern part of its territory. The name Niger derives in turn from the phrases Gahen Garen, Gahan Garen, meaning river among rivers in the Tamakshek language. Now, most of people will always say Niger, others, but this is Niger. There is a difference between Niger and Niger. When you talk about Niger, some people are like, isn't that Niger, like the Niger? People hear of Nigeria. No, this Niger is a country. Of course, Niger is the home of one of the world's largest known animal. Of course, those are the carvings. And of course, the voice giraffe is, of course, and the voice giraffe is a life-sized carving of two giraffes, which of course date back 10,000 years. Now, this carving is the largest known animal of carving, of course, in the world. And the prehistoric art is located in an isolated spot in the Sahara in an area known as the Tenere Desert. Of course, Niger was colonized by the French. And of course, we have the reason why we have a lot. Sorry, Niger was colonized by the French, and its official language is the French. Of course, the colony of Niger was a French colony possession covering much of the territory of the modern West African state of Niger, as well as the portions of Mali, Burkina Faso, and Chad. Niger's existence, of course, this colony existed in various forms from 1900 to 1960, but was titled the colony du Niger only from 1922 to 1960. Of course, we know that Niger was colonized by the French people, and we know that the French military took over Niger at a certain given time. We know it took control of the areas of modern Niger, starting way back in 1890s, of course, and of course, the former Zindel military territory was formed on the 3rd July 1900. We know these French people have been colonized, have had territories in Niger since the 1900s, till of recent that we had in Nigeria have coups. But of course, this began in 1890s until they made the treaties That's when they made it official on the 23rd of July is when they made it official, and of course they started they took over Niger as part of their colony till of late, that they have had their influence in of course Niger. We know that the Zinda military only governed what is called the modern southern Niger with only nominal rule, and the east of Zinda or north of Turnout. Of course, we know that these people had divided in Niger. You can see from until now, when you, of course, when you compare the situation in Niger, we had people who were up against the French and people who were backing up the French. Now, Niger was divided for the fact that Niger was a landlocked country. These people, of course, had divided Niger, that they showed their power. Usually, the colonial masters have been having this tactic. Just I can give you the best example in Uganda, where we see that the British concentrated a lot on the central part of Uganda, to the point that until to date, some other parts of Uganda still disagree with the existence of the British in Uganda. So these people usually have the center of concentration when it comes to uh, their rule. But by the way, it always is n'abantu I just dived right into the topic. Naye naweza okutulingira ka. Kati nze nno ndi bisoma naye sibitegeera.
Colonization. Your French.
Nyiga teekako kakibe mantandikira. Teekako kakindabe. Like I said, when these people were divided, of course, the French command was based at the village of Sobo Hausa near the Niamey, where the headquarters was moved in 1903. The administratively, it was moved in 1903, of course, with the entire administration. And we know that Namni was part of the Senegambia and Niger colony from the 1902 to 1904, and Upper Senegal and Niger colony from 1904 to 1911. Now, while commanded by officers of the French troop, the Marine, those are the Marine troops of the French, the administration was dependent on the lieutenant governor at Case, that was the later Bamako, and the military decision making as well as contact with authorities in Metropole or other colonies was through the Governor General in Dakar. Now we know that Dakar is now the capital of Senegal. Now, of course, the area also appeared on the French maps at the third military territory of the French, that is on the 2nd June 1910. We know that now that territory was later named Niger Military Territory and included parts of the modern northeast Mali, Gao, and northern Chad, Tibesiel. And on the 21st June 1911, the Sicily of jail seized to the French Sudan. And throughout the late 1990s, efforts were made to establish permanent French posts in the north and the east, in Bima, Ningwimi, and elsewhere. That was in 1911. Now, the headquarters of the territory was moved to Zinda, reflecting both the relative peacefulness of the West and the territory, and the fear of course, succession from the British to the south and the Italians from Libya, despite its French control of the north and eastern areas. Now we know that the Italians at that time, when you see the territories of Africa and how they were divided among these cannibals,
mm,
um, among the colonial masters,
mm,
like the way people say it. You would see that there was division of power, division of territories. Um, the control of African land was a decision that these people made. They sat down and agreed on, of course, what to do. Um, the French people divided. Now, if you look at the history of Niger, you will understand that Niger was entirely part of Senegal, it was part of Mali, it was part of Chad. Remember, Senegal is a landlocked country. Now, it is surrounded by these particular countries, surrounded by Senegal, Chad, you know. So, eh, eh, uh, um, so you can see that we are only named the
mm,
countries we are because those people chose to name us.
mm,
You understand? You can see from the history of Niger that Niger was only named Niger because of somebody's particular interest in this given geographical areas. Unfortunately, it is very sad that we as Africans we don't really understand that what we are is what they decided. You wake up and say, I'm a Ugandan because you were somebody decided for you to be a Ugandan, but we would still be the Africans we were without these geographical demarcations and the naming. We would still probably I would even be existing maybe in Zimbabwe,
mm,
maybe in Malawi, but and I would still fit there and I would still be okay as you know. But these people named us, they divided just like you'd wake up and say, right now you are naming something that you possess, and this is what we are. But according to the little, the brief history I've been telling you about Niger, you can realize that Niger only broke away from all its angles, from the west, south, east, north. It only broke away from these countries, given the fact that it's a landlocked country. At a certain time, it even you can see that people who took over Niger could still stretch to Dakar, of course, a city in Senegal, and other places like Chad and Mali. So you can, from this history, you get to understand that whatever we are right now is something that was made. Apparently, we were one. We belonged to one. Now that on the 13th of October 1922, the civilian colony of Niger took control of the most of the south and western areas with a lieutenant governor reporting to the governor general of French West Africa. Now, the 1999, of course, we had a creation of the French Upper Volta as a civil colony removed. We have a French Upper Volta as a civil colony, which removed the areas of modern Niger west of Niger River. At that time, they had started dividing Niger, and of course, we see that in 1926, the capital was moved again to Nalami from Zinder. Now, in 1930, Tibetsu seized to Chad colony in French Equatorial Africa, and in 1932 the colony of the French Upper Volta was divided among its neighbors with the Seychelles of Dori and Fada Ngauma seized to, of course, Niger colony. Now we know that Niger colony officials, unlike neighboring Chad, remained loyal to the French Vichy government after the 1940, and thus it closed its southern border, that's to Nigeria, and the eastern border until 1944. Apparently, Niger is surrounded by borders. Which countries border Niger? Tell about which countries border. So like over meeting, over meeting. So what is that? All right. Like I told you guys that Niger is a landlocked country, and from the things I've been explaining, someone will be wondering how come Maria is mentioning Burkina Faso, how come she's mentioning Libya, how come she's mentioning Chad when she's trying to describe or tell us about Niger's history. Niger being a landlocked country, of course, it is neighbored like Niger being a landlocked country, it is bordered on the northwest by Algeria, on the northeast by Libya, on the east by Chad, on the south by Nigeria and Benin, and on the west by Burkina Faso and Mali. Apparently, all these countries are mentioning Algeria, Libya, Burkina Faso, Mali, Nigeria, Chad. All these countries are surrounding, of course, Niger. And from the history, you can realize that Niger, of course, was extending, had some territories that would extend to Libya. Now, you can say that, by the way, you know that most of the Niger practice Islam. Most people were like, now we don't see French people practicing Islam religion. How come most of the people in Niger? You can see that we have a lot of Islamic influence that is bordering
Mm.
Niger. You can see that there is a lot of that influence. And when you follow the northeast, small valley be the northeast is moja na muddayo moja na muddayo moja na muddayo. If you follow the northeast, yes. Sorry, if you follow the northeast of Niger, you will realize that there is Libya right there. And the people in the northeast Niger by the Bagamba, uh, they have they share they since they share the border, there is a lot in common, and they believe they have they have the core of Islam, because I believe Libya has a lot to explain when it comes to the beliefs that, of course, are in the northeast of Nigeria. And then, my God,
And,
how can someone knock like that?
so Niger, yeah. So so uh, we see that when we talk about Niger in Africa, mwana mwogana nnyo
Sorry.
shouting.
Mm.
Mm. Mm. Now, when we talk about when now we have seen France in picture of Niger. Mm? Ate kati nkugambe nedda ng'ositamye bangasto. Kasito yambadde. So when we relate, when we see, you have talked about France, you have talked about Niger being colonized, over the decolonization, right? So we see Western influence in in almost West African countries.
The French.
For all the countries you have talked about, most of these countries they have that sense of France in their administration, in their economy. When you talk about Burkina Faso,
Mm,
okitegeera.
mm,
When you talk about Mali,
mm.
okitegeera. France egezaako kulaga to put roots in these
Yaziteekamu
countries.
nadda.
Okitegeera.
Mm.
So Niger and Western influence, we know that recent
There was a recent development of that
we
has
see
zero.
that sorry.
Has zero customer.
We see that the recent developments in Niger and other Western African countries should act as a wake-up call to Western countries to reassess their priorities in this region, the Western region.
They thought they can because
Mm,
people are waking up.
mm,
Check it out.
mm,
People are waking up.
mm,
Niger has laid a challenge, by the way.
mm,
People are waking up people are waking up. Africans are no longer going to be quiet over exploitation. I know it is going to be a struggle.
mm.
I know it's going to be what? It's going to be a struggle. It is hard, but from all aspects, I think the world can see that people are waking up to realize. And if these people don't take caution, we may actually we are about to see change in entire Africa. Of recent, we've had Nigeria trying to, of course, um, have coups and stuff. So maybe
So we know that the military coup in the western country of Niger that took place actually on 26th of July
mm,
was a critical blow to French military strategy in that region.
yeah, in the Sahel region.
Yeah.
Mm,
So especially considering that it occurred a year after the departure of the last French soldiers from operating back home in neighboring Mali. We talked about Mali, and
mm,
6 months after the withdrawal of the French special forces from Burkina Faso.
mm,
These are the people that gave independence to this country.
mm, mm,
So we see that these developments have cast a shadow over the future of the French military presence in the region, with
mm.
nearly very many soldiers, French soldiers being
Approximately 1,000 something.
mm,
Mm,
stationed in Niger, mostly the Niamey air base
mm,
outside the capital. Kitegeera?
mm,
So these people, the French people, following the earlier coups in Mali and Burkina Faso,
mm,
the new military councils in both countries hastened to condemn the agreements that had governed the French military presence.
mm,
We know that leading to its termination. This is now also the demand being voiced by the leaders of the Niger coup.
Niger.
Sorry, the Nigerian coup. So, so whatever one actually may think of the attitudes towards the French presence signaled by the coup leaders, it imperative to end the coup and restore President Mohamed Bazoum
Mm,
to power in Niger.
mm,
So the ECOWAS group has put forward plans for military intervention in Niger if it does not happen, and has set out to a timeline for coup authorities to consider their actions.
but they want them to reconsider.
Mm,
Apparently, this is something that I was last time we spoke about this.
mm,
We have seen countries in Africa being exploited by the
mm,
French.
mm,
We have seen Niger being exploited to
mm,
maximum.
mm,
We have not seen ECOWAS. ECOWAS,
mm,
which is supposed to be, of course, on the foundation of supporting Africans. ECOWAS, which is supposed to be
mm,
built on the strength or on the legacy of protecting Africa and its resources, since it's, of course, dealing with the economy. This is something that has which has had sat and watched the African countries being exploited. And now that Niger is trying to stand up and defend itself, ECOWAS comes in and, of course, asks the people who are going to ride the coups, of course, to reconsider. Of course, it is not about reconsidering, it's about Africa taking control over its resources and everything that it holds. Thank you. And everything that Lukumi, Baba, Lukumi, everything that ajango mozinga kwa the mouse here and never time. So I don't know why ECOWAS, of course, is asking that who is that?
Jim Jabba, how are you doing? Go. It's a quarter to 10 and 25 degrees.
Fahrenheit.
No snow, just cold.
Alright. Well, it is 50 minutes. It is 10 minutes to 6, I should say. It's not so cold. It is the brr. It is not cold. Oh, sorry about that cold, man. 25 degrees Fahrenheit. That is terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Sorry, but I hope you are doing good, TV Java. We are fine. We are fine. Yesterday we moved. Yesterday we did not work. We moved somewhere, and I wish I had that time. I would have showed you, but you didn't have time. You missed whatever it was enjoying and very, very entertaining. Because we're going to
Ebiki. Batereze
No,
tugende mu maaso, tugende mu maaso, tugende mu maaso. Tugende mu maaso nawe.
So much of a devil.
So, however, the situation is intricate as both Mali and Burkina Faso have endorsed the coup in Niger while opposing any military intervention by ECOWAS because ECOWAS is a puppet organization. So Nigeria's Senate also opposes granting approval for Nigerian forces to intervene in Niger.
But you remember their president wanted it too.
So the significant segments of Niger's population support the military coup. You see that most people in Niger support the coup. We see that still and outside observers have argued caution with regard for any military intervention due to the potential for destabilization of the West African region. So the Italian Foreign Minister
Antonio Tanagi
emphasized that the diplomacy must be the primary focus, and he has called on ECOWAS to reconsider its timeline for military intervention. We know that the developments in Niger show that there will be significant obstacles to plans to reinstate President Bazoum, as well as the tough choices ahead for France.
But you know that after the withdrawal of the French troops from Mali in 2022 and Burkina Faso in 2023, the same fate may now await the French military presence in Niger. Moreover, any halting of the aluminium exports from Niger to France could impact the efficiency of the French nuclear reactors, which rely on uranium for electricity generation, 18% of which comes from Niger.
And very many people, we know that before USA come into picture,
Mm.
we know that before USA came to picture, before even other countries, yeah, it sucks. I'm well just slow moving today and listening in to learn about today's topic.
Yes, you're welcome, Ziba Jaba. Today we are talking about Niger, so we hope you enjoy.
So I was saying that very many people tebamanyi nti no France is one because we know in the countries that were superpowers before the Second World War, it was France, Britain, and what? It was France and Britain.
German.
Yeah,
German, they are super.
Germany not too much. It was actually it was France and Britain.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the superpowers. But most people don't consider France to be exploitative in African countries.
No,
I don't know.
Antonio is tujjukira sisitole waffe bwe tusoma akoma waffe
Akoma mu East Africa.
kati France tebadde nnyo naye abawesi tebamumanyi kuba eyo territory yagyefuga kati ffe ewaffe ffe abatabamanyi naye bali bayinza obutabafiirira nga bababadde ate the explore bajjali bajja ekongo kirala kye bakola the explore
French people.
balinga
And
nzige
too harsh.
they are too, my God.
And by the way, despite the Western powers' outward stance of condemning the coups in Niger and freezing aid programs to Niger, their efforts may not actually extend for rescuing the French military presence in that country. We know that the US is forcing on securing its own military presence in Niger. For example, it had over 1,000 soldiers operating drone bases in Niamey and Agadez. So, among the 10 Sahel countries, 4 have witnessed military coups and over the past 3 years. The Niger being the most recent, the Western powers have actually suffered losses due to these coups. Kitegeera? We know, and today only Nigeria, Senegal, Gabon, and Mauritania remain relatively stable currently. But it is evident that the dynamics have changed significantly in the Western Africa, and that there has been a diversification of international partners that now include
China, Russia, India, Turkey, Israel.
Yeah, it is giving away for these people these coups. So these new partners offer economic benefits that are distinct from exploitative relations with the Western powers that focus on harnessing the region's natural resources. We know that the shift in promoting the Western powers to rethink their approach to the region and to recognize the importance of supporting genuine development efforts in its societies, the display of Russian flags and images of Russian President Vladimir Putin recently in Niger.
In Niger.
Yeah, along the worsening socioeconomic conditions and rise of dangerous terrorist groups should act as a warning to the Western capitals to reassess the strategies and priorities to support for the meaningful societal development in the region.
And if at all there were people who had Africa at heart, they would, but they don't have. As much as we are trying to embrace other people, it's like we are jumping from the flying pan into the fire. And are they going to process uranium in Niger? If so, they are making plutonium in the country and with missile technology, and the West will think twice. I heard Chad and Mauritania are taking probe on the Sahel Alliance. We know that omwana gwe totubuuza nnyo bintu ebyo waggulu wali ndaba eri bateralist waliwo gundi gy'obuuse ate Jimmy Jabala alabika gy'abadde atambuza wali Boko Haram wabusaagala. Niger, actually, they can start. Yes, that one is in plan. They are talking about them processing, but of course, they cannot process anything with the instabilities yet. They haven't completely gotten rid of the French military. They haven't gotten rid of the terrorists. And of course, Jib Jabba was talking about uh, let me first read that again. Jib Jabba's comment where he said, he said that he had Chad and Mauritania are taking crop on the Sahel Alliance. The Sahel Alliance, the Chad and it is very funny. Mm. Sahel Alliance.
So to get that
Mugenda kyada lollipop Zaheri tulali. We know that of course Chad we know that Chad and Mauritania, people were like trying to say they have an alliance. They are trying to create an alliance. But given the fact that there are a lot of terrorist groups where Boko Haram is also included, some people are still debating on this. It is very crazy with Africa. There is a problem that most of the Africans, of course, uh, most of the Africans are always afraid when another country is trying to give a hand. Uh, we know that Chad and Mauritania still Chad and Mauritania, of course, for some time throughout history, they have wanted to have a part of course, Niger, that they had different agreements, trade agreements. They've been doing business together. When it comes to political arenas, a lot of African countries, despite the fact that they would verbally indicate their help and their aid, there is always hidden agendas. There are always political hidden agendas when African countries want to, of course, give aid to each other, which leaves them, biased with the friendship and the relationship. Now, in most cases, when you see these African countries coming together or to fight against or for the same cause, there is always a reason. Now, we've had African countries or African political leaders who are in support of other political leaders outside their territories. You can see we have had relations, of course, with the president of Uganda, the one that he had, of course, in Zimbabwe, Oligayo Musei.
That was Mugabe.
Mugabe, you could see whenever Mugabe would be talking, of course, that he wouldn't stay talking about the president of Uganda. So there is, of course, Chad and Mauritania are talking. corrupt about this. And yes, we know probably there could be. We want to look at the bigger picture, because it would be just so stupid and selfish of us to always look at the minor things. But this is how crazy Africa is. You will not have full support of a certain country that will support you just for the love of you being an African, but they would support you because they also have hidden intentions and agenda. But we are waiting to see, Jibijaba, we are waiting to see where all this takes Niger in, of course, the political arena, and for the fact that we are hoping and dreaming to see Niger holding the cow, the bull by its horn, and taking the real independence that we have desperately been waiting for as African. Unfortunately, I still see Russia coming in the picture. I see China coming in the picture. And of course, I'm left with only wonders like, are we going to have Africa for the Africans? Are we going to have that dream that everyone is yearning to, of course, see come true in Africa? I can see Derek. Thank you very much for joining our live. It is me, Africa Maria, with my colleague INNOSSETU, and we are broadcasting live from Kampala, Uganda. Like I said, guys, it's 5 minutes now past 6 p.m. here. The weather is so good. So sorry for Jibby Jabba. He says it is very, very cold. But we hope, oof, Africa is the only best place where you put on sweaters when you want. I'm not having a sweater on. Some people are having sweaters on. So it depends on how you react, but the weather is always favorable.
So France, we know that France, in most of the Western African countries, France has shocking atrocities in Western countries. We know that France's history includes a legacy of slave trade, simanyi wa bantu bakimanyi, colonization and exploitation in African countries, resulting from immense suffering, trauma, and fractured national identity. Okitegeera? Yeah.
Those were the atrocities.
Yeah.
The trauma. When I listen to that, this is an no trauma. It has a lot to do with the mental issues. These people are, I'm laughing about the trauma shit of this entire thing, but I'm not laughing because it is funny, because actually it is more real than it sounds. In every aspect, trauma is taking a lead. In every aspect, it has contributed to the way people behave, the way people live, to the fact that they even hate the fact that they are black. It's trauma. Psychological trauma. Apparently, people look at this like, nah, we are fine, we are okay, but they don't know how enslaved their mind is. They don't get to understand how, kati ojiwe muno tuli awo tuli influenced by those dudes. I was a trauma. No, I'm woyambale ngoma zinja kadiwo. Oyaba mukade. It was a trauma. But it sounds fun. I want to know what you're going to have trauma. It's weird. Anyway, so now. Papa, what's your car? I need. Fatu vehicle, ani ali mukuzibinga emtwalire. Toziteekamu. Sinasaba kukuzidenga wabwe. Chap. Africa, what is this? Nze toteekamu buwi tovudde ffenna ebweru taata. Tugenze ffenna ze nga chap mu chapping kati.
wali withdrawing ate nno njirabidde eri nemanya naye gwe omanyiziza nnyo abantu eki
That's because
ate wa mobile money.
yeah, nze tamanyira nnyo chapa chapingira eyo. What? Ate no oba yo ono muwala ono buli bwoba ogenda okukola
akubanja
talina kyamanja
kati lwaki ateekamu
simanyi si ono omuwala somaawo sokenda omuwala si wetugira ssente omuwala si gwe tuggyako ssente buli
lwabasoma leeta kikulu olina empakana
njagalisamu kati mpakaali. Anyway, someone wants to scam me. Anyway, we have said that when we talk about the French, when we talk about the colonial masters, each territory in Africa cries on their own. They will tell you the British have done us what for us who have been colonized by the British. These children can shout right now. Ate from the other morato one day abayiro omusenyi ne bakakkanako. Ebyala biringa nga bye byabazaala mu ki abuyazemu azemu mulwadde wa muto bireke muleke oyo muguwa ddala kuba ku makya nataddemu pini ku makya ate najjako omutwalo mu kitundu nenteeka mabiri. So atrocities, we know that the French people have. Sorry guys, sorry. Someone is trying to scam me. Someone is trying to scam my money from my account, and is not stopping. So that's why you see I've not. I don't know what kind of bullshit is that. Yeah. Told you how you didn't just comment. We are all popular. Well, YouTube is erasing comments. You have made it. Anyway, so when we took Mama. So we know that the French, French have of course committed atrocities and violence during the French colonial rule. Now we know that between 500,000 and 1 million Algerians were killed in the first 3 decades of the French conquest of Algeria, making a violent and devastating period throughout history. French is always quiet and French is always playing the good guy, but Africa has not forgotten. We know that the 1945 massacre in Sétif, of course, the French Algeria, resulted in the death of 102 French settlers, leading to brutal retaliation that killed between 600 and 30,000 Muslims in the region. You remember, after the French people committed atrocities and killed the Algerians, the people retaliated. The Algerian people killed 102 French people, and we see France itself sending military in, of course, Algeria, where they brutally killed between 6,000 and 30,000 Muslims within the religion of Sétif in Algeria. We also know that France's use of brutal tactics included torture and arbitrary detention to suppress the Algeria National Liberation Front, during the Algeria War of Independence, which highlighted the extreme measures taken to maintain control. I'm bringing this story because apparently France has been warning, of course, Niger and other countries that have been trying to, of course, demonstrate cause and wishing to break away from moving it up. Senior. To break away now. People are asking, will France still do what it did in history? France apparently was massacring a lot of Africans during this time, more especially the Africans who wanted to stand up against the French colony. The African countries that were colonized by the French gained their independence forcibly after a long journey of course, um, a long journey of death and of course killings, brutality, and everything. These people uh, have never given independence to their colonies freely. We know that the French army's methods in Algeria, including massacre, defilement, and the torture, caused the death of hundreds of thousands of Algerians and led to public outrage. The history of France's colonial legacy in Africa is marked by a series of atrocities revealing the deep-seated oppression and disregard for the lives of the African people. Uh, of course, we know that France's approach involved bombing villages and hiding innocent villagers into assembly areas, showcasing a sinister orchestration of violence and torture. The extensive list of France's action in Africa, rebelled as labeled as atrocities, is just beginning of the uncovered. Now we know uncovered, revealing the ongoing impact of colonial history on Africa's nations. Of course, we know that Africans were struggling for equitability. They were struggling for development. We were struggling to have freedom. But it is unfortunate that, of course, Africa as a country, as a continent, sorry, had to shed blood throughout uh, its history in order for it to gain what is rightfully its. And until to date, we still see Africa not gaining what is rightfully hers. We still see that Africa is not, of course, um, having freedom, independence, and we still see these very countries that, of course, controlled Africa still wanting to possess Africa. And that's why we are seeing France getting frightened that it's being kicked out from Niger. And we still look back into history and realize how France has been so bitter and
Oil field or mine, you find key.
Kigandi there.
No coincidence.
No
Coincidence.
coincidence. Somperoxy.
What is some of you do coming?
Nkomye ku wano France approach nkomye abiwedde katutandikira awo byawansi
So,
omwebage maama
hmm?
maama
I'm gonna be the
Hello? Mm.
We know that French's involvement in the transatlantic slave trade. We know that the same nation that birthed revolutionary ideas of artistic brilliance also reaped immense profits from the forced labor and sufferings from the countless African souls, these French people. So France was the third most active power involved in the transatlantic slave trade, actually transporting very many Africans from West African countries to the New World on ships flying the French flags. Over millions of Africans were forcibly removed from their homes and enslaved, resulting into discrimination of the population and the population of towns in African villages. Very many people, most especially people in East African countries, they really don't know whether actually France really involved in slave trade. They talk about different people because history in Easter. I don't know why history is divided in Africa. That this history is basically for South Africa. This history is basically for Kenya. This history basically for this country because most African countries they know only their history. They don't know vast history about different areas in African countries, and this plays a significant role in making Africans still blind over this. Because very many people in East Africa they will tell you that France did not involve in slave trade. They did not put any involvement in slave trade. So
That's a lie.
yeah, so
The French did. The French were major in slave trade. Like French had nothing to do with. The French had nothing to do with slave trade. But they had
yeah,
slave collars. We think Haiti is Seto. Haiti was a French slave colony, and all these other colonies in the islands and all.
Yes, Mama, God, I'm doing what they can tell you,
um,
chop, chop, chop.
uh, did you see my message earlier today, Maria?
Sorry?
Did you see my message today?
No, you sent me message?
Yeah. I sent you a message because Denway's been all messed up. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pay you tomorrow, and I'm gonna pay you another extra $10 for it being late, and then you'll also get paid the following week since you're getting paid late. I just wanted to let
Oh,
you know. I pay
okay.
I pay you first thing in the morning. They said it should be up tonight, so it'll probably be tonight. I pay you, but anyway, I'm gonna pay you an extra $10 for it being late because that's not your fault.
I will see that. Yeah, you don't need to say that on air.
Oh, yeah, I didn't want to, but if you see my text, I ain't want you to get on here, man, Keith, where the hell is my money at? God
No,
damn it.
no. First of all, I don't want to talk about it on air. We should
Okay,
talk on inbox.
okay, okay, okay,
Don't worry, I
okay.
will see that message. I have not seen
All
it.
right, all right, calm down. All right, calm down, Maria. Calm down. Okay. I seen you guys. I seen you guys show 2 days ago. You guys are talking about that diary. I don't believe in that diary shit.
mm,
Why should I have to? I said, Jennifer, you should appreciate the family. Why am I supposed to appreciate you for doing your job? It's your job to raise your children, not mine. That's your job. That's your job to raise your children well. No one wants to give me. I have children who are grown now. Somebody's supposed to give me some money because I raised my children well. That was my job as a parent.
mm,
I don't.
yeah.
I don't need to appreciate you. That's your job to do that. that's your. That's your job to do that. It's not my job to. Let me appreciate you for doing your job. That sounds crazy. That's your job. you
Yeah.
you decide to have kids, not me. Now I'm happy to bring your daughter into my home and I want to love her, but I'm not paying you and your goofy family nothing. It ain't my obligation. Shit. Well, I'm supposed to pay your family for doing a job. Here, let me bribe you for doing your job. Nah, that's your job.
She said you did a good job.
That's your job. These are your children. If you don't want better for your children, that's your fault. It ain't my job to come appreciate you for doing your job. You decided to have kids. Was I with you and your wife or you and your husband when you laid down and had kids? No. I wasn't there. I had nothing to do with it. So, but your daughter, yeah, I think you raised a great daughter, and I'm happy. I'm gonna take care of her, but I'm not paying you for doing your job. That's what you're supposed to do. Africans will get paid now for doing their job. How much you appreciate me for doing my job? What? What are you talking about? That's your job. That's like saying I got to pay a doctor some more money on a tip for doing his job. I already paid you. That's your job. and like and like Maria said, it would be like if that was where dowry was when it was still small. Yeah, okay. But now in Africa, it's become a business. I gotta give you 20,000 cows, and I gotta give you gold and frankincense and all this old crazy stuff. And the people get mad. The family get mad if you don't bring enough. How dare you bring this little stuff to me for my daughter? What? Listen, listen. I'm not giving you nothing. I'm gonna ask your daughter. I'm gonna ask your daughter. Listen, do you want to be married? Are you ready? Ask your daughter. Hey, are you? And understand. You know, in the Indian world, it's completely different. You guys got book Indians, and you know the Indian is the woman that gives the man the money. I don't agree with that either. You guys agree with the woman giving the man money? You got
Oh
don't
my
tell me you don't know that. Don't tell me you don't know that. In Arab culture, well, the white Arabs because the original Arabs were black. Maria did get that right. People
goodness.
came in, still African people's culture. It's funny that they call themselves Arabs when they're not. But
Mm,
in Arab and Indian culture, it's the woman that's got to get a dowry to the man. I damn sure don't agree with that.
mm.
Somebody can get some man some money for taking your daughter. You crazy? Now you guys got to know that there's a bunch of Indians in Uganda. You guys can look that up. It's
You
the
know, these
woman. It's the woman. It's the woman that gives the man the money. I remember when I told Joe because they want they dowry. I said, okay, well, are you comfortable for the man getting the money? And they all of them said, no, 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 of course not, no. I said, well, that's the way the other ones do it. It's the woman's family who's got to give the money to the man's family for taking her in. I don't agree with
Mm.
that. You guys haven't seen that? You guys in Uganda got a bunch of Indians there? That's the
Well,
Indians culture.
we know we know Indians do that.
I, okay, yeah. So,
Mm.
so
Indians
are
do
you
that.
are you are you are you giving appreciation for the parents raising a good man? Is that what you're doing when you're giving them money? I'm not giving no man nothing.
No, or was it on Tuesday when we talked about that? I think when you look at the word dowry, with Africa, it wasn't dowry like the Western put it.
Yeah, the way they say it. Yeah, I
Okay,
forgot the African name for it. But and the funny thing
it
about it,
wasn't. Let
I
me
know, I
first
know, I know,
here.
I know. It was a show of respect and also family
No,
bond and
forget
family
the
kind of connection.
respect. Like I'm going to give you. It is not forget the respect. Whatever you wanted to give was from your heart. If you
Okay,
wanted, you would give. If you never wanted, you wouldn't. But there
but
were
it,
some elements, like, of course, there is a ritual that always accompanied
of course.
Africa's
But let me say
ceremonies.
but let me say something. Let me say something before you explain it, Maria. Now look, the funny thing about that, that's all over Africa. So how do you think you're a different culture? That you'll find that same thing in Nigeria, Ghana, Zimbabwe, Tanzania. The thing about the wedding and giving away. I don't want to call it a dowry or whatever you call it, doing a ritual. Exactly. That's the culture all over Africa. Go ahead, though. I mean, go ahead, Mo.
Now there are always rituals that of course, are done at each ceremony that is always practiced in Africa. When it's marriage, childbearing, death, other things have rituals. Now, when the of course when they are going to when the marriage is going to take place like a traditional marriage, there are some items that are bought on table in order for this ritual to take place. Now, those items are just traditional. It is not like you are buying someone's daughter. It is not anything. It is just an item. Just like when you go to church, with if it's a Catholic church, you buy that holy cup.
Mm.
Oh,
Mm.
priest, you tell me.
Yeah, you
The
buy.
grill,
Mm.
the grill.
I know that.
and the whole or the hostia, the Holy Communion. If it is for the Catholics, isn't that an element that is going to practice that ritual? A husband and a wife buy that thing in a Catholic church. You come with those elements. You buy the grill, is it the holy cup? You bring the wine, then you bring the communion, the hostia. The hostia, that's the bread that they serve. As married people, that's what you bring in the Catholic Church. Those are the elements they use during that ritual. Now, in African tradition, we also have our rituals, giving out whatever you want to give to whoever family. That's why some other people will give, or someone will come with a car and say, I'm giving my car to my in-law. That is, your in-law did not ask you for that car, you decided to do that. I may not have the car, my husband may not have the potential to buy that car, and he may just bring the elements that, of course, the elements that are supposed to be in place in order for this ceremony to take place, or the ritual. Those ones are must do. They are things that are, whether you like it or not, you must bring them, because these are the things that, of course, take place. These are the things that help us carry that ritual, that, of course, make it possible for that marriage ritual to occur. So, and usually they are not expensive. They are simple things that everyone can afford. And why should even not bring those things? It doesn't make sense. If you cannot afford those tiny things, how are you going to take care of someone's daughter? So, but of course, the marriage thing was in a context of the Western world. The way they called it dowry. You ought to bring dowry. And I see usually people who, there is a guy last time, I can't remember, he was called who? He can't fire. Maybe that was Keith in Augustine. We had a brother. I don't know whether she's a female or a male, but she's called the Canfire. For her, she was up against dowry. But then I was like, where do you come from? Then she was like, he was a she. I don't know. I don't know. I'm sorry if she's not a she, and I'm calling her she. I'm sorry, but because I don't know if she's a man or what, or a woman. So let me just say she. I'm sorry. She was like trying to say she comes from the West. I don't know, West Africa, the Western world, the stuff. She was up against that. I was trying to explain to her. She wasn't getting this. I was trying to explain to her. She was talking about cows, some a woman feeding cows, growing fat stuff. I wasn't really understanding what she was meaning by um at dowry, like they put it. Dowry isn't an African word. It's not an African term. There is no way Africans would make marrying a woman so expensive that African men could not afford. That was not tradition. People just went on and exaggerated with things. The rich want to compete. Everyone want to out compete. Just like marriage has no meaning nowadays. Every woman wants to wear that gown. She doesn't know what she's coming into. As long as you take me to the altar,
That's
after
but
2 days, she's
that's what I
divorcing.
was saying, Maria. That's what I was saying. I said, now imagine African young man can't afford this woman. They can't afford a bride. You don't got no job. Don't got any money. Did you guys shout out to the youth? The youth are waking up. You see, I seen on TikTok there's a video, right?
Mm,
Of these fake politicians. What they always do, they don't care about African people. They always fake and paid
mm,
off. They try to come to a village and give everybody rice, right? They came out, oh, we got bags of rice. Like the youth start putting the bag of rice back in the damn truck and say, we need jobs. Keep your damn rice. We need employment. We don't need no rice. He said, we don't need no rice, Maria. We need employment. We need jobs. You keep your damn
mm,
rice.
mm,
So, like I said, they make it too expensive, and the women want to. Well, see, Maria's a humble lady. That's different. Most ladies are not that humble, Maria. They look at YouTube. They look at YouTube and TikTok videos. Oh my diary. He can't. You say how them nuts talk in a Nairobi studio. They got to come with a gold, a gold car, 20,000 bags of silver. I said, man, ain't nobody got. Ain't no, who's got that? Well, if they want me, that's what they gonna have to do. I said, then you're gonna die alone because ain't nobody got how's a young man who's just starting off in life going to be able to afford any of that? That's why you're gonna end up with a bunch of old men. What they call them in Kenya, Mbaba.
And actually, there is like Keith, Africans have so very much neglected what defines them. The word dowry, I feel like it's so much of the Western, because in Africa it was never like that. They would not have ever complicated
Okay,
marriage like
so they
that.
corrupted it. Okay, at least I know.
But
Okay,
it is
they
so
corrupted it.
corrupted now
If it was so
that
much,
it
our
is
ancestors couldn't be able
to
to
marry
even.
all those women.
Mm,
You'd find a man having 12 wives. How many? How?
mm,
And of course, Christianity came in the picture and changed everything to make everything not possible for marriage to take place. But if you follow the real traditions, dowering, which dowry? They would just bring elements which were so affordable, because first of all, they do not want to put a price on the heads of their children. Always again. But of course, people, you are supposed to feed. People are supposed to enjoy. That is where animals come in.
mm,
They come with a bull, you kill the entire bull or cow for people to enjoy. Usually this cow is not taken by the family.
mm.
This cow is brought and slaughtered, and everyone is roasting meat,
Everybody enjoys it.
barbecuing it.
Okay, that makes
It
sense.
is not
It,
taken by the family. You
now
bring
that's a
things,
normal.
they're not taken
Okay,
by your mother. They are
that's a
fed.
normal tradition. I tried to bring 20 cows. I don't got no 20 cows.
But yeah, some people would be rich and they would give up 20 cows. I told you, people are exaggerating. You'll find someone is bringing cars to give to the in-law. So the next time someone is competing, why did my husband bring a car? Did you just see what they did? Your husband can't afford a car, baby. But people are doing that. So everyone is
Isn't
doing
the
what
cow?
they
Isn't the
can
cow
do.
expensive?
It's not
Isn't the cow
commercial.
expensive? Hold on, Maria. Isn't the cow expensive? Ain't a cow
Oh,
expensive? Isn't a cow expensive? Isn't a cow expensive? How much is a cow?
a
Is that expensive?
cow,
Yeah, is that expensive?
a,
Yeah.
a big one. We need. Wamwenga
Very,
muzizira ffe munekinaana omulembe ewaffe.
very.
A cow depends. Now he's saying where he comes from, it is like 3 million. Where I come from,
Yeah.
you can get it even at 900,000. So for
Okay.
us, where we come from, cows.
How many cows did Seto get his divorced wife? How many cows did he bring when he got married?
That's what I was. Most of, most of
How
them
was
were
that to go to the power of one man?
How many cows you bring, Seto? We still waiting. we wanna,
I
we
didn't
want.
give him anything.
He did give
I did.
anything.
Oh,
Those things are for these people that exaggerate. We normally see those things on TVs.
So what can get?
Like someone is giving out like 200 cows. Those people, those things are stunts.
They always stand.
They
Sometimes
always
they
stunts.
just they give in, they take
They
them
take
back.
them the next
oh, y'all about
day.
to
The
put all that on there
community,
too?
the community will be like, oh my God, he
Okay.
never remembered 3,000 pounds.
Folks will take it right on
But
off.
they just 3,000 at night they are taken
Okay.
back. But anyway, don't worry. Don't get up in the
How?
Okay.
Look, you're not chinayo. Good dalu. Good ente bisadi. Nze nememba mukazi wo nkugana kati.
Look at Seto being shy. He didn't give us, but you did a good deed because you ain't with her anyway, so it's better not to give her nothing. See, you didn't lose nothing. You ain't gotta be mad.
Tugenda kukola mawulire.
You ain't gotta be mad about nothing. In the U.S.,
But
instead
in
dowry
my
comes
culture,
with.
they don't depend by their own cow.
Yeah.
They don't depend on cows.
Mm.
Like it's all
Ente
about.
bagireta mu bitundu ebanyama.
Yeah.
Tebagyeta nga bagitemye.
It's all about alcohol, that local beer.
Yeah.
You bring local
For the
beer,
ancestors to drink.
and it's okay. They
Yeah,
give you a wife, a woman, and you take. You don't need to take a lot of things. What and what?
Such
Mm.
Until
Yeah.
I was
College debt. I'm not paying nobody's college debt. That jibber jabber.
number to one of them, you know, you know, man, who passes busy right now. You know.
Ngabagikuba.
I don't go Maria.
Maria Maria saying it's cheap. I ain't never heard of a cheap cow. I ain't never heard of a cheap cow ever. Maria saying it's cheap. I ain't never heard no cheap cow.
So my comment, what you put there comment? Good question. What a cow, goat, or donkey for you? Said call your mama for. What a cow, goat, or donkey go for?
For me, I just gave in traditional attire and local beer, alcohol.
Mhm.
See, that's why she divorced him. So said he was cheap. He came with some local beer. Like, I gotta get rid of him with his local beer.
One thing I know when people nowadays when people are neglecting, you know, a culture. Me, I also have my own imaginations. There's something I would wish, like if someone is to marry rent, Wait. Yes, people exaggerate like that. Me, I have my own imaginations. Like there is a way I see, like there is a way I imagine I would wish my tradition marriage to be. I think that's why people have their right to do whatever, but you can't be competing with that. First of all, I don't imagine like I'm going to have um um there are a lot of things I don't see me doing during my time when someone is marrying me because it doesn't make sense to me. But njagala nnyo abantu basanyuke. That's very important.
And people have embraced this Western kind of things, and they have forgot those cultural things.
Mm. As much as I would like a lot of people to be there, like in the village, like people to celebrate, I don't have friends. So I assume my traditional marriage is going to have not even like 40 people. I don't have people now. Where are they going to come from? Maybe my aunties, few of them, my mom, and Keith is invited. Jibby Jagger.
What about your friends all at school? You guys in
Yeah,
school
my
right
friends
now?
at school I don't have at school I have two friends. But
Who
maybe
just
if I just put the entire
who
school
just
and
set the this this just Seto in the well where the Baba doesn't go to your school. What about the Baba?
Mama, yeah, the mom said of definitely. Well, it's not like I don't see on my I don't see me having something like more than 40. I'm trying to bring the people, but I can't find them. Maybe if it's my family, but friends, I don't know. Mbuchi, akoma kwasa tumeta. Segera tumuwa bili mweta. Eh? Bagamba.
Amakosa tumweta.
Anti matumuwa bili mweta.
Omugambe okay, thanks.
Tuwozo mwe tubadde tukyamunyiga. Oh?
Kati nga teyakubidde wasoose kumucekinga bakuceeki. So you tell us about your wedding.
Me, my wedding. I will
What
not say
about
my wedding. I
what
will
about
not say
what about Jonathan the Baba? You bring him?
my
Maria, I am the Baba.
And if you know we met him.
I'm here for your wedding. how, how, how'd you know I was getting married? Because
I
I
just
am the Baba.
that is it. I'm biased about people who are very quiet because of that word. I'm biased. I had never experienced that. I've not been so much with people who are quiet a lot of the time. But I'm biased about quiet people. I'm starting to judge. When I look at every quiet person, I remember Baba. I'm like looking at them and I don't trust their silence at all. Bro. Anyway. So, Keith, what do you think about the situation in Niger?
What happened this year?
Mm-hmm,
What's happening in Niger? Say it again. What about Niger?
mm-hmm.
What about Niger? What'd you say?
I mean, what do you think about the situation that is in Niger? Of course, they want to withdraw from, of course, exporting um, the minerals to France, and France is trembling. As you came in, I was trying to tell the audience that uh, France has a history, has a very, terrible history when it comes to the territories that have been trying to fight their way out of their colonization. And I read some of the massacres, the torture, the suppression that, of course, the France military has been committing on Africa's soil. In
Yeah, today. You
of
got it.
course,
Yeah, straight.
so I'm like, should Niger be prepared for such a
Morning.
reaction from
How you
France?
doing today?
Are we about to see France taking action like it used to do throughout history? Are we about to see a massacre of the Western Africans who are standing up against the French colonization and, of course, exploitation of minerals? Because, of course, we see France is
What they
trying to warn Niger and other countries.
what they
Keith,
want to
what do you think
what they
about
want to
that?
invade. What they want to invade. They've got again. See, understand. The Africans need to know by now. You should be able to see through Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger that not Africa, Europe is poor. So right now you got French now amassing troops again in Senegal, and Senegal was it Senegal?
Who did
I
I?
want to say Togo and Benin get ready to invade, but it's not going to work because
Mm,
you got those three countries now finally unifying as one. Remember
mm,
they're saying they want to unify their currency. So
mm,
so see they are a threat to all African puppets because as they start growing, you see right now all their just in 3 months, all three of
mm,
their economies are now the number one economies in Africa because they're not being controlled by the Europeans. So
mm,
the Europeans are not going to want this. If you always ask them, what does Russia? Why is Russia helping? Because Russia has a demographic problem. I keep telling people. I know Russia's doing this for its own survival. Understand? Russia doesn't need Africa's minerals because it has its own minerals. But Russia has a baby problem, a birth problem. So in a few more years, Russia will not be able to defend itself because it doesn't have enough people. There's not enough people being born. So they're trying to make allies with the Africans who have what a robust birth rate. And so if they be friends to the Africans will reciprocate that because that's what Africans do and help them when they start to get invaded. Because the whole thing
mm,
is always to invade Russia and break it up.
mm,
So that's that's the part. Me being on the years in the Marine Corps, we shouldn't be in Ukraine. Russia didn't invade Ukraine. That's a lie of the media.
mm,
We were bombing Ukraine, and Obama no good but overturned the government in Ukraine.
mm,
Obama overturned that government because they wasn't supposed to push NATO against Russia's border. They told Russia in '92 that they would not push NATO against their borders. That's when I was still in the Marine Corps. We wouldn't push NATO towards Russia's border because the Europeans have always been invading Russia. They always been invading it. you know,
mm,
Hitler being the last one. So us as Americans, we promised we wouldn't invade Russia no more. Then no, we're not gonna make NATO go any further. So we lied because they still want those resources. They had Obama no good but going they overthrew the government in 2014, and so Putin had no choice but to say, "Hey, man, you." And we tried to
mm,
make peace through the Minsk Accords. He said, "Hey, I want peace. Let's not fight. I don't want to fight." But
mm,
these homicidal maniacs we got in America, they want war. Now all these wars we got, war after war after war. Joe Biden's a mental case. That's why they don't want
Mm.
Trump back. If Trump was in there, we stop these wars. That's why they hate him. You know, you got war after war. I'm not going to fight for no damn Ukraine.
Mm.
You know, so that's why Russia's probably helping down there because they got a demographic problem, and the West knows that they're not having enough babies. So the whole thing, if you read the old Rockefeller foundational papers, they wanted to break Russia up. They wanted to break it into four different pieces. And they would when it fell from the Soviet Union, they went in there with Henry Kissinger and then to break it up, to steal all the resources. Same thing they did in Africa, but they forget they're not gonna roll over like Africa. If you go back and read all the papers from 1992, oh,
Mm.
I'm scared.
Exactly.
But see, if you guys
Exactly.
go read the breaking up of the Soviet Union in '92, and see,
Mm.
so Russia was at its weakest, and the vultures moved in to chop it up. You know, the vultures
Mm.
moved in to chop up Russia. Not us American people, the goddamn corporations, the banks. They went in to chop the shit up. You know, we don't got no problem. The banks were going in to chop it up. So that's why they brought in Putin to stop the looting of other countries. And so, so you got puppets. You got Bush was a puppet, and Obama was a puppet, and you got this other moronic puppet. That's why they want to put Trump in prison. Because he's the only one that's not going to go along with all these goofy wars. You know, so that's why you see what's going on right now. But they would say, well, why? What is Russia getting out of helping Africa? Because because of the African woman, Maria. African woman gives birth to what babies? That's why you don't only want the positive birth rate. Look, you guys got a computer. Look at the birth rate in Europe. Look at the birth rate in Europe and Russia. Look at the birth rate in China. The demographics are going away. They're declining. So they won't be able to fight these wars. So Russia in 30, 40 years won't be able to defend itself. There's not enough young people. Put this up for me, Seto or Maria. Say, what is the youth percentage, the youth population? What is the percentage of youth in Russia population? What is the youth percentage
Population
population in Russia?
population of youth in Russia.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, the percentage of youth in Russia. Percentage of youth. They don't have the numbers. They
Population
don't.
of youth.
Yeah, the youth in Russia. They know that.
Youth
You got to
in
read their white papers. They know that Russia's demographics Russia's demographics is no good. So they want to invade and take it over.
in Russia. All right, there is the demographics of Russia.
Not the youth
Oh,
demographic. The youth,
I don't know.
the youth demographic.
They have just put the entire demographic.
Yeah, we know demographics, but I'm gonna see if you guys can
They are not
find the youth demographics.
putting
Scroll down.
take up demographics.
Yeah, they know Russia's youth is youth. See, that's why they want to wage war. Well, you got them saying, "Oh, we're gonna be total war with Russia," because they know Russia's demographics is not good. They don't have the manpower. They don't have the people. Especially within another 20 years.
Yeah, they are still bringing them, and all right, they are saying that of course they are specifying the age groups under the umbrella category of youth. That's 10 to 14, 15, 19, 20 to 19.
Yeah, they don't
There
have
were
enough.
actually 24.5 million moving.
Yeah, they don't have enough youth, and they know that. So that's what America's doing. They know they don't have enough youth to defend the country.
24.5 million young people aged 15 to 29 in Russia Federation.
But we, but, but we
And
destroyed our notes with all the LGBTQ nonsense.
mm, mama. So what are they? Mpira nayibeera ng'omusomera yuda.
See, nobody thought about the numbers. You guys have the numbers. Everybody knows that.
We are seeing the numbers as divided. We are seeing 18 to 44.
45, 64.
13. Wait, man.
No, there's over a billion. It's gonna be more than 2 or 3 billion in 20 more years. It's gonna be like 4 billion Africans. You have the numbers, overwhelming numbers.
Mm.
As long as you get your mind right, stop being stop being controlled. You have the numbers to control the planet, and everybody knows that.
Mm. Mm.
These crazy bastards went all out nuclear war with Russia. They crazy as hell. That's the nuclear power. Mm.
Global population. It's near 24.5 million young people.
How many is it, Seta?
Yeah. They
Hey,
say
I'm sorry
here that
about you guys' gate. This damn thing jumped off of here, so they're gonna give you guys a call about it.
they say that the total population of Russia, it is 145.9 million people, constituting of 17% of the youths. That the total population of Russia has only 17% of the youths. I don't know whether this is real.
Yeah, they don't have the numbers. They know that, so that's why they got to fight. They know eventually they're gonna.
They
They know
say
eventually they're gonna.
they say that the
They saying
youth
what?
umbrella, they just categorize that the youth umbrella from 10 to 29 years consists of 24.5 million young people.
How many is it? 20 million?
They are 24.5.
That's not many. There's
Okay.
not many young people settle to fight wars. you know,
Mm,
that's not a lot of young people to fight the wars you need to fight.
mm,
You know, you're
yeah.
gonna fight many damn battles, and that's not enough. That's not enough people. They know that. That's why. That's why you see them going after Russia. That's the reason for the Ukraine war. It's not about Ukraine. It's about them. It's about these same greedy people who want to control the world. So they want Russia too. They wanted to take Russia and break it up and steal the resources. They almost did it in the early '90s when Russia fell apart and became when it was the Soviet Union. You had the West in there stealing all the resources. What they do, privatize everything. What they do in Africa right now, they privatize everything, but they own it and put your people in slavery. And so when Putin came in and said, "No, we're not going to do no more of this privatization, but you're stealing all of our resources and all our companies." So remember, Putin kicked everybody out. And so with that, it's okay. We're going to have to get rid of his ass. We're going to have to get rid of this Putin guy. We're going to have to get rid of this Russia. So that's what you're seeing happen, because what they did, they went to Ukraine, they overthrew the government in 2014. There was a coup in Ukraine, right? The United States, the CIA went in and overthrew that government and put in their puppet, Zelensky and them. And so they started, so understand, if you guys, that's why you got to understand history. Russia actually started in Ukraine. There was no such place called Ukraine. That was the beginning of Russia. It's called the Kievan Rus. The capital of Kiev is where Russia started. It's called the Kievan Rus. So understanding that, then you understand the West has been trying to put its military up against the borders of Russia to attack it. And Putin kept saying, "Hey, you keep getting closer to our border. What are you doing?" And so we figured Russia was weak because we had, they had looted it. But Russia slowly built itself back up into a power over the last 20 years, 25 years. It built itself up back into a reputable power, right? So with that, you know, with that, um, Russia's now seeing that it didn't want to fight, because remember, the only reason why they're fighting because they were being now encroached with military. And also the people that's on the border that are in Ukraine are Russians. Those borders are fake. Those are ethnic Russians on that border. So the Ukrainians who overthrew the government with the help of the CIA, those other Russians, they didn't want to be part of that government. Hey, we don't want to be part of this Ukraine place. We don't want no part of it. We want to we want to we want to we want to be back with Russia. They said, "Nah, you're not gonna be back with Russia." So they start bombing them. So they start killing these people. You understand? They start killing these people over the next almost 10 years. It was like, as that started in 2015, they overthrew the government in 2014. You guys can pull that up online. You'll see it. Go to YouTube and say Ukraine gets overthrown in 2014. You'll see it. That was done by the CIA in America by fucking no good Obama. That was Obama, no good punk ass. He's just a puppet. So they overthrew Ukraine, and then because the idea was to build up an army to go against Russia. Because I told you, they still want Russia. They still want to break up Russia. You say, well, why would they want? I know the African mind doesn't understand these things because you're not a warmonger. These people are psychopaths that run the world. They're greedy. They want all of it. They want everything. They already got the majority of the wealth. They want all of it. They want everything. They already got everything, but they want even more than that. So that's what you're dealing with. You're dealing with psychopathy. And if you can't understand psychopathy, you're dealing with psychopath, and that's a scary thing. Mm-hmm. So that's a scary thing. So Putin, don't look at some of Putin's speech. He's telling you these people are psychopaths. Remember, they refused GMOs. They were forcing on the world. They tried to get Russia to go with GMOs. They said, no, we can't be giving our people fake food. They said, well, you're going to accept the LGBTQ. No, we're not accepting no LGBTQ up in here. No. See, understand these. See, we think of the world as countries, like Uganda and Kenya, but that's a misnomer. Those are just fake countries. Those are just people actually control these countries that you don't see, Settle. These bankers that run the planet, they control the planet from the IMF and the World Bank. So you think America has power? America has no power. America's a puppet country. That's why Obama was a puppet. That's why Joe Biden's a puppet. They do what they're told to do. So they want this war with Russia. That's why they're talking about going to war with Russia. Who wants to fight a war? Nobody. But these crazy bastards do. Nobody wants to fight no war. But you get all the propaganda. Since they own all the media, you get all the lies. Oh, Russia's now evil. What has Russia done to anybody? Nothing. It's Americans that have been invading everybody and bombing everybody, killing everybody. But since they control what? Power. Who's taking America to court? Nobody. For crimes against humanity. Nobody. And Israel right now, because the same people that run the banks created Israel. And it's funny, Israel's bombing all these kids, and ain't nobody going to court. These are war crimes. Why ain't nobody doing nothing about it? Because the same people that run the planet created Israel. That's why. And those are the same people that's in Ukraine. Because they were trying to turn Ukraine back into their old empire. These things you got to know. Before it was called Ukraine, before it was Russia, it was called the Khazarian Empire. Those people down in Israel are Khazarians. Like I told you, pull this up for me real quick on Google, you guys. You got to pull up images. The images of Khazarian Empire. That's K
The images of Khazari Empire.
Khazar. How you spell Khazar? Khazar. Khazarian Empire. And you'll see it's got a Jewish sign there. That's when they became Jews. That's when they took on the religion. That's the first homeland, which is ancient Ukraine. Understand? Nobody wants to go to war. Nobody wants war. But these psychopaths do.
Khazari Empire. Ndifananye.
See it? Yeah, you guys see it, so you guys are seeing it. So understand, those are the same people. Those are the same people that's down what you call Israel today. See, understand, back about 1,000 years ago, Russia didn't exist. They took over that empire. So that's where Ukraine is today. You see that? That's Ukraine today. So Russia took over those people land 1,000 years ago and started what you call Russia today, right? That's why history's so important. So they've had a beef with the Russians ever since because they feel the Russians destroyed their empire and created Russia out of their empire. So they feel upset about that. So understand, these are people that now got control of what? The banks. They own all the banks on the planet. All these central banks in Africa, they own all of them. From Kenya, Uganda, these people own all of them. And these are not my facts. These are facts. You know, it's not nothing I'm making up. This is all real. So this is the reason why you tell me they want to now go to war. They had planned to loot Russia and break it up. And also, these are the same people that had control of Russia for almost 100 years. At least 80-something years, because they're the ones who put a revolution in there back in 1917. So before that, Russia was what? A kingdom, an empire. It was the Russian kingdom. So when the king refused to put one of the banks in their country, said so. This is back in 1800s. The Rothschilds say, hey, we want to put our bank in your country, in Russia. And the king of Russia said, no, you can't put no bank in my country. I own this country. Then you ain't put no bank in it. He said, we're going to murder you and your whole family. That's what they said, too. They said, we're going to murder you. It's going to take us time. He said, it's going to take us time, but we're going to murder you and your whole family. So it took them until at that time, the king, his grandson, they murdered his grandson. They murdered his grandson's family. At that time, it took them like 80 years after they told the Tsar, the king of Russia, right? He'd already died, and his son became king. He died, and his grandson became king. But when his grandson became king, that's when they were ready to get him. That's when they were ready to go in and take it over. So they went on in, destabilized. And the sad part about it, Russia had a lot of gold back then, right? The sad part about it, when they would be, when the Rothschilds were overthrowing the king of Russia, right? He didn't even know it was them that was overthrowing his stupid ass. He sent his money to them, to their bank for protection, right? He sent all their gold to them, Seto, so they could protect his gold from the people that was overthrowing him. He didn't know it was the very same people. I don't know, he couldn't have known, but he didn't know it was the same people that was overthrowing his ass he was sending all his gold to. They were the people that were overthrowing him, Seto. They were the people that were overthrowing him. And so, it's crazy. It's wicked. It's crazy. So yeah. So some sad shit. But Um, and so they installed all their people inside of Russia for 80 years until it fell apart. It became what? The Soviet Union. As you always talk about the Soviet Union. Soviet Union was created by the bankers, by these people. It went from the Russian Empire to the Soviet Union. The bankers took control of it and renamed it the Soviet Union, put their people in there. But they're Zionists. They're the same people that run Israel and the banks. They put their people in there until it collapsed in 1992. And so Russia started. You imagine being in the country, you wouldn't even taught your own history? Same like you. Russia was, for 80 years, Russia wouldn't even taught its own history no more. They didn't know who the hell they were until it collapsed in 92. And all the history started coming back because they were taught lies because the people that run the planet had got control of their country. And they want it back. They want to now break it up. So, see, when you know history, you know, well, why are they fighting with Russia? What's this Russian-Ukrainian thing even about? Because it's deep. It's deeper than what with the lies you hear on TV. Russia didn't invade no Ukraine. Russia's fighting for survival. They want to break Russia's back and break it up and take it over and loot it. They want to loot the place. It's like I'm sitting outside I'm your enemy, Cedro. And you say, well, Keith, and you tell me, Keith, I don't want to be your enemy. I don't want to be your enemy. Let's be friends. Because this is Russia telling the West, I don't want to be your enemy. Let's be friends. And I said, nah, I don't want to be your goddamn friend, Cedro. He said, okay, well, just leave us alone, man. Leave me alone. Cedro, I'm not going to leave you alone. Not going to do it. Not. So I continue to amass weapons by your house. I keep trying to put guns and other stuff right by your house. He said, but Keith, what are you doing? I'm going to have to do something. I said, you better not do nothing. You better not do nothing. But Keith, you're setting up guns and stuff by my house. You better not do nothing, Seto. I'm not going to do nothing. You say, well, you look like you are. You're setting up guns by my house. Seto, I told you I'm not going to do nothing. So then eventually I get closer to your house. I take over your next door neighbor's house. That's you crap. I take over your next door neighbor's house. Now I'm right next door to you. I take over your next door neighbor's house. I still tell you. He said, Keith, you're right next door. Seto, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I'm right next door, but I'm not going to do nothing to you. He said, but you're my enemy now. You said you're my enemy. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I'm right next door. So I left you no choice, Seto, but to now react to me being next door. You know I'm your enemy, and I am set on destroying you. I've left you no choice. You got to act to defend you and your family. You've got no choice. That's what's happening to Russia right now. They had no choice but to react because they're setting up military bombs and stuff on their borders. So when they say, oh, Russia invade, that's how you know the whole world is controlled. You're all these African puppets say the same thing. Africa invaded Ukraine. That's a lie. That's an absolute lie. Russia tried to stop the war because they didn't want to go to war. They said, hey, let's have peace. Stop killing our people and let's be good. They're like, no. We don't care about being good. We don't want to be good. You be good. So that's what the Ukrainian war is all about. They want the rest of Ukraine, and they want to break up Russia. They want complete dominance. These people are psychopaths. But the one thing, Russia's a nuclear power. They're not going to let you just take over the country without using those weapons. But they know, like you're reading, says they know demographically, eventually Russia will not be able to defend itself. It doesn't have enough people. It won't have the numbers. Russia's a huge country, so it won't have enough numbers to defend itself. They know that. They just gonna kill as many as they can now, and eventually take it all over. That's how wicked these kind of wicked people we're dealing with. I mean, evil on a level you can't understand, Central. Evil. When I say evil, I mean evil with a capital E. Evil. They lie, cheat, rob, and steal. So I think when everybody's asking, what is Russia again? Is Russia trying to colonize Africa? No, I think Russia's trying to befriend Africa. So Africa will feel some kind of reciprocation because they're going to invade Russia again. They're going to do it again because the numbers. They're hoping that the Africans now will become strong enough in the next 20 years to help Russia out. Because demographically, since Russia won't exist, it can't defend itself. It doesn't have the numbers. So I'm sure they're thinking, well, Africa has the numbers. Let's befriend Africa now. So in 20 years, Africa has all these kids that are now grown. It'll come to Africa's help. Come to Russia's help. That's what I'm thinking. That's why they're doing it. Because Russia doesn't need your minerals. It needs your people. And don't get it twisted. The Russians are racist as shit. Yeah, but they're gonna be strategic. I'm racist, but I know shit. Without these Africans, I won't survive. I'm gonna be their friend right now. I need these Negroes to help me fight these wars coming. I'm gonna be their buddy. And most African people said they are loving and they reciprocate everything. Oh, you remember when the Russians helped us out? We can't allow the Russians to go down like this. Let's go help the Russians. That's how African people are. You guys got it. Go ahead. I told you guys the whole conversation today. What are you guys talking about? I told you guys the whole conversation. What are you guys talking about?
Said was like saying that now the Russians want to bring that ideology to Africa.
Well, I think they want to bring help right now because I think look, sad enough, Africans don't strategize. Other people strategize about survival, Maria. They know, like I told you, the demographics. They know their numbers in the future would not be able to stop a war against them, a land war, right? So they know Africa has big numbers and it's going to have even bigger numbers. So why not be a real friend to the African, help the African get loose of the West, be a real friend, and then African people always reciprocate kindness, Maria. That's your nature. That's our nature. So that's the strategy. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. That's really helped the African because, sadly enough, we're going to need them in the future. Because they're not going to stop warring against Russia, Maria. They're not going to stop this. Even though they lost this war right now, they know eventually in time that the numbers are in their favor. So 20 years, they'll come back and start some other now. Oh, Russia did something wrong. We got to invade Russia. We got to invade them. What did they do? Well, they said no more cheese on your sandwiches. They can't say no more cheese on a sandwich. We're going to invade them. It's going to be something ridiculous. So with that case, they have the numbers. So that's why you see all these. That's why you see Russia now saying what the Africans don't need a visa to come to Russia. They're going to do whatever they can do to cultivate a relationship, Maria. They see the same numbers Central put. They know those numbers better than Central just put up on Google. They know their demographics are all fucked up. They know their demographics are fucked up, Maria. I'm going to be nice to these goofy Africans, help them out for real, and have them, want to help me, come to my aid. Because they're going to need Africans. They're going to need them bodies. Because Russia will be invaded. They know the numbers. It won't be able to defend itself. Unless it does a whole nuclear bomb. Unless it nukes the whole world. They say, forget it. We know we can't win. We're just going to drop nuclear bombs on America and everywhere else in Europe. And we're going to blow up the whole world. That's the only option. To blow up the whole world with the nuclear bombs. But a ground war, in a few more years, Russia can't win. They don't have the numbers. And even more than that, in a few more years, China won't be able to do nothing. China's demographics is all messed up. So when everybody keeps thinking that China's going to take over Africa, they're not. 30 more years, China's going to be a bunch of old people. Ain't nobody 60 and 70 years old going to be able to fight no wars. The majority of China's population is inverted. You got all those old people and a few young people. Old people don't fight wars. Young people fight wars. So in a few more years, China won't be able to wage no war. Especially down no Africa. That'll be a joke. Unless they impregnate, and they know that too. China's sneaky. China's trying to impregnate a bunch of African women to make a bunch of mulattoes. That's their scam.
Mm-hmm.
That's their scam. You know. So Russia just said, "No, we don't want to be scamming. We want to just let us help you. And when we get invaded, come and help us. We're going to need it." Because remember, parts of parts of Russia belong to China. And China has the resources. Russia stole that land from China like 200 years ago. Chinese have not forgotten about that. They want that land back. Russia won't have the numbers to stop China from coming across that border and taking that land back that they stole. Just from Michelle for football group say that when did Russia, what year did Russia steal China's land? It was 18 something. What year did Russia steal China's land? It's resource rich too. The Chinese want that back. It's resource rich. 1800 something, right? 1800 something? See, Russia stole that land when China was fighting the British. They went and stole the shit. Damn. Because China was too busy fighting the British. But Russia just went in and said, "Oh yeah, I'm taking all this shit. I'm stealing all of it, Maria." You should have a date on it. Someone say, "What year did Russia steal China's land?" And it was messed up what the Russians did. Russians went and just stole them people's land. Because the Chinese are fighting the British. and it's funny, everybody's always fighting the fucked up British. Everywhere you go. Just like we were talking about Venezuela and Suriname last week, earlier this week, fighting the British. You got the Chinese fighting the British, and then the Russians steal the land. I'm fighting Central. Me and Central fighting, and Maria's cousin comes steal my land. You guys can't find it. It should be surprised. Like, Alex Cooper said, "What year did Russia steal China's land?"
In which year?
Yeah, what year did Russia steal China's land? No, they don't want to say steal. You might say annex. You might say ANNEX. They don't want to say it's steal, and they might say a more sophisticated word, Maria, annex, which means stealing.
It was on the 14th November 1860.
That's it. Yeah. Chinese were fighting the British, Maria. Russia said, "Okay, I'm glad you're fighting. I'm going to take this land." So,
Yeah.
so understand. The Chinese have not talked about getting that land back.
350,000 square miles.
So they know Russia's demographics are bad too. And that's why you hear Xi Jinping said it. He didn't try to be friends, but they friendly because Xi Jinping says it. That land up there belongs to us. It was stolen. Russia stole that land. Russia like, well, that was almost 200 years ago. Let's not worry about that, Charlie. I said, nah, that's our land, goddammit. Stole that land. We want that land back. Oh, you come steal our land, think you get to keep it? You don't get to just steal our land and say, that's okay. My bad. I come home. I come home and find Settle gardening in my yard, in my land. Hey, Settle, what you doing in my yard gardening? Kid, this is my land. This is your land. Settle, this is my land. It's been my land and my family for hundreds of years. Settle, what are you doing? Well, it ain't your land no more. You were fighting Maria's brothers. So while you were fighting Maria's brothers, I came over and took this part of his land. It's mine now. Damn. And at that time, China wasn't strong enough to fight Russia. Russia was too powerful back then. Now, China can fight Russia. See, things always change, family. Things always change. So always try to do people right. Always try to do right by people. Well, I'm on my phone, Jim. I can't read your damn I can't read your I can't read your text. That's if they make it back. They might not. Man, you tell about that damn boy, that damn trip from Boston. Why we got no foot. That was a trip from hell, boy. Got no footage of the city, nothing else. Man, that was a waste of time and money. But I guess it's only for their vacation anyway. It was to give them a good vacation before the new year. So the water wasn't working in that place. They had salt water. The lights going on and off. Oh man. Trying to reach it down. Trying to reach the text. That was the trip from hell, man. And them about the footage of nothing. I could have handled it all right though. You know, I'm like, we don't got no water. I mean, what can I do? I'm in America. I can't do about the damn water not working. I guess the water must be hooked to like an electrical pump or something. When the power goes out, it fixes the water. I don't know how. You think a house that night will have like a backup generator or something? Yeah. 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 It was in the goddamn dark half the time there. No generator. You had to pay the money. Ain't no damn power. Where the generator at? What vacation is this? I'm sitting in the damn dark. You know, because my boss is hot, right? He's sitting there, the AC's not working up in there. Fan's gone off. So my boss is hot as shit, jibber jabber. My boss is hot. So I think they spend most of their time in the pool. So, so I told him don't even worry about no outside footage. Just spend your time in the pool or at the beach outside from the place. Nothing we can do about it. It's one of those things. God damn. Sitting in the dark shit crazy, man. Come on, Africa. Jesus Christ. Put the shit together. I mean, that was a nice ass house. I don't know if that black woman was the owner or was it a corporation that owned those houses out there. Them houses are nice as shit out there. Like, damn. Why build these nice houses out here and don't have the water situation right? Don't make sense. Because they said even when the water was running right, that shit was salty from the damn ocean. I was like, what? You know, because the house was right on the ocean. So I was like, they don't got no filter in this shit. I mean, it's salty, but the tap water's salty. Like, damn, you can't drink no shit like that. They ain't put no filter in this water. You can't drink seawater. Where's the water plant at? It's crazy. Like, I build these damn nice ass houses and don't have decent water and have a backup generator. Oh, really don't go out there like this. This is rare. I said, oh, glad it's rare. It happened to me. Happened to us is rare, huh? Yeah, this is rare. We don't have power outages. Not out here. So, well, you got them now. Shit. Do I get a discount? No, you don't get no discount. Do I get a discount on my money since this is rare? I don't think they're gonna make it back, Jimbo. Well, I'm gonna go and end this thing. I don't think. Looks like they're gonna make it back, Jimbo. So I'll talk to you later. Peace, peace, fam. Oh.